This is a very niche video for a niche audience group. Also, if you're taking a sip of your favorite bourbon every time I say the word niche, go ahead and click that subscribe and like button. If you are working for a government contractor that's building non-classified but sensitive web apps for the United States Department of Defense, DoD for short, or the UK Ministry of Defense, MOD for short, you might be restricted from using Node.js and hence NPM, thereby removing much of your standard workflows typically associated with modern single-page apps, also known as SPA. These types of web apps fall under the public trust domain, where the developers have to complete a Form SF-85P in the US or meet the baseline personnel security standard in the UK. However, these apps are not classified as confidential or higher, but yet the security rules still apply. Sometimes these rules don't necessarily make any sense and are in place due to a combination of ignorance and laziness. Not necessarily a productive combo. So where does that leave us? What choices do we have then to build modern, efficient web apps without making constant round trips back to the server like we used to do back in the day? Let's utilize the Ooda Loop and P.A.C.E planning to see if we can get a jump on our competitors. I've explained the Ooda Loop concept before on my channel. I've linked that video in the description. P.A.C.E is a mnemonic, and here's what each letter represents. Essentially, it's coming up with 4 plans in order of precedence in case there are impediments. In the observe phase of the Ooda Loop, these are some but not all of the choices we have. If your dev shop is primarily Java, you can try to outflank the group that set the rules, which in most cases is another government contractor, and they could be within the same company that you're working for. Anyways, you could try using something like front-end Maven plugin, which will encapsulate and install Node.js, NPM, and other JavaScript build and bundling tools as a Maven dependency, and then your front-end dev teams can go to town. However, if the apparatchik says no go to this, then you have these options. React.js without JSX. During development, your team can use React and React DOM from the CDN. The React team even shows you how in their official documentation here and here. The React team also have a minified and optimized version from the CDN for your production environment. You just need to add the script tags to your index.html file. You can look at the examples the React team provided. You can also do the same thing with Vue Js. Here's an example on how to use Vue Js from the CDN. They have a production version as well as the development version that's unminified. Bear in mind that although Vue is considered open source, most of the contributions are from mainland China, which could be a no-go for some agencies. In either case, if you go with the CDN route for React or for Vue, I suggest saving a development version locally in case you lose internet connection. You could also try native JavaScript Web Components. It's more work, but modern browser has excellent support for pure web components. The Mozilla Developers Network has even created examples for you on their GitHub page. Now, if you're into sadomasochism, you could certainly create your own single page app framework yourself. However, if you would rather not fight the last war and want to bypass the spa trend and minimize the role of JavaScript in your web apps, you can leverage WebAssembly, which will give you native level performance in the browser. For DevShop, utilizing the .NET Core ecosystem, you can use Blazor, which will allow you to build web apps with C# on the front end and the back end, bypassing JavaScript entirely. Now, if the thought of using anything .NET or anything Microsoft related makes you throw up in your mouth, there's also Rust and WebAssembly, which have existed long before the Blazor framework. It's no coincidence that I have Rust tutorials on my channel. Wink. So let's say as a Java shop, the front-end Maven plugin looks intriguing, and you think it's potentially a fast and efficient solution for your team based on present skill set. Now we've reached the orient phase of the loop, and you decide to go with front-end Maven plugin in the decide phase of the loop. Let's create our P.A.C.E plan before we act. For our P.A.C.E plan, the front-end Maven plugin will be our primary. Alternate would be React.js from the CDN in case the apparatchik figures out what we're up to. Contingency would be pure JavaScript Web Components. And emergency would be good old JSP, JSTL, Java Web App, kicking it old school. This is all hypothetical, of course, but the ban on the Node.js ecosystem does exist in certain niche scenario. Niche, 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 niche. Are you drunk yet? Just kidding. Please don't operate machinery while intoxicated.